everybody, this is JJ Outlaw, better known as the Gourmet Goober. You can find me on Twitter at JJ Outlaw. I'm always on the Instagrams, and you can catch me at Gourmet Goober. And as always, I'm here with my co-host and PFF, the love of my life. Yay! My hubby, Big Daddy.
Is that me?
Yeah, that would be you.
I really hope that's me, because if it wasn't, this will be a whole different episode. More appropriate for Maury.
Yes.
Yes, I am T Outlaw. You can find me on Instagram. As a matter of fact, you can find me on Twitter first at T Outlaw. That's TOUTLAW, which will lead into my Instagram, which is T Outlaw Josie Wells. And you can find me on Facebook, but why would you really?
No, I don't think you should look. But you know what? We are on Facebook if you are so inclined. You can catch us at the Gourmet Goober blog on Facebook. And while you're at it, you can go to the Gourmet Goober blog, which I promise, I know I mentioned in a previous episode, but I am working on a new website, so hopefully that'll roll out soon. But in the meantime, you can see our classic website. I like to call it that. It's our old website. That includes recipes and old blog posts and things like that at thegourmetgoober.com. And finally, you can drop us a line at thegourmetgoober@gmail.com. So email us anytime. Speaking of email or just reaching out to us, I want to thank a good friend to the show now, Jay Shavani, who actually left us a voicemail. So thank you for that. She has a really great podcast I would recommend, by the way. It talks all about mental health and your journeys and taking care of yourself and things like that. It's called Surviving the Journey. So she left us this really awesome voicemail. I wanted to double check with her, otherwise I'll play it. So I'll play it the next time. And I was like, yay, we have a fan. But anyway.
Yeah, she was smooth.
Yeah, I just wanted to reach out and say thanks again, Jay Siobhan. And thank you for the lovely message and the support of the show. So, wanted to start off like we always do every week and talking about our week. Those of you who may follow us on social media and things like that may have noticed that we took last week off. And the reason being is that, like I tweeted, we were feeling a bit under the weather.
Like the San Antonio Spurs, we were, did not play old.
Yes. I like that. That's a good point.
Yeah.
When they held out Tim Hardaway.
Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan, sorry.
Yeah,
why did I say Tim Hardaway? Oh my gosh. So different. Tim Duncan and Tim Hardaway.
We old when we remember Tim Hardaway playing as opposed to Tim Hardaway Jr.
Exactly, which is really sad when you think about it. I'm like, dude, I saw your daddy play and now you're playing. That's too much.
Got it.
But then again, it must be weird because who's, you played his father one time and his son is playing?
Okay, I grew up, I'm from GI, and I was playing against Big Dog back in the day, Glenn Robinson, from Gary Roosevelt and whatever. Dunked on me a few times. More than a few.
I was about to say just a few times.
Shut up. But anyway, yes. So, dude went on to have an NBA career with the Bucks and a couple other spots. And now his son is probably about the same height as, well, maybe an inch shorter, but as I. And he was in the NBA for a while. Actually won. Did he win a dunk contest?
Actually, I think he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to get mixed up with Nate Robinson. I guess that'd be a problem.
So anyway, as we alluded to, we kind of wanted to take some time off to take care of our health. And so we are going back on a bi-weekly schedule starting today or whenever the podcast drops, because obviously we record a few days before it hits the streaming networks. So after the 23rd, you'll hear from us again in 2 weeks. And then we'll go back to the bi-weekly schedule starting from there.
Yeah, unless we do another DNI, did not play because we old. Gotta get our bones right and stuff.
I don't like the idea of saying we're old, okay? I prefer to say we retro.
Okay, you can be as retro as you are. I'm like Danny Glover old.
Vintage, okay?
I earned some of this gray hair. But at the same time, yeah, I'm as young as I feel. But yes, bi-weekly.
So, As we're talking about the D&I old, do you want to share the details of your week?
Uh, Basically, my week was just me just trying to get right. I know I went through a lot of adjustments this week, and uh, what she's not telling you is that part of the reason I wasn't here last week was because my voice. This so lovely instrument I have.
Of course.
It was a little scratchy. It was a little a little off base. It kind of went a little off tour, but I had to work on getting that right. And my thoughts were there, but my voice was not. And I had to get that cleared up. And we also had to go through some things that we learned while I was getting my voice right. But also I part of my week was just reflecting upon as I get older, like things that go through changes, and I had a reflection. I lost a English teacher that I had in high school, who actually influenced me to go into the field of work that or occupation I go into now. Um, I'm not gonna say her name or anything, just for respect to the family. But she gave me an A in the class because I thought quick on my feet, and I was able to do a report just off the top of my head with quick preparation. And she was one. She was a very nice lady, very short lady, but a very powerful lady who taught me a great deal about as an African American respect about my history and about in terms of short works and certain books from all kind of authors and all kind of poets, and as you will, about life as told through the lens of different people and
Didn't
different
she introduce
spectrums.
you to Maya Angelou, like in you reading her work?
Yeah, Maya Angelou, Langston Hughes, James Baldwin, a lot of different crafts. And I will always respect her for that because she left me. She told me that, like, no matter what I got into, that I have a way of writing, and I had a way with words, even if some of the words were just off the top of my head. But I give her a great deal of credit, and I will dearly miss her.
Didn't you say in the story? And the story is really kind of cool. My big daddy shared it with me. How basically what happened was you're supposed to do a project where you're interviewing someone else and vice versa, and that person was sick, and so when it came time to present your project, you just kind of made it up on the fly. And one of the words that really made her laugh was, what was it, a diamond?
Yeah, basically, I called myself a diamond in the rough. I did a self examination of myself off the top of my head, and I kind of crossed and analyzed myself without trying to be too full up on myself. And yeah, somewhere in there, I just made off the top of my head, I called myself a diamond in the rough, which I guess made everybody laugh. Now, I will truly, I don't know where that came from, but truly, I guess it stuck.
Well, it sounds like she was a really awesome person in your life, so I'm glad that you're able to reflect. I'm so sorry that you she passed away. I mean, I know that you recently just shared that with me, so
Yeah.
sharing that with our audience, that's really cool and open. So as always, I love it when you do things like that. I know for me personally, this has been a challenging week health wise as well. When we took Big Daddy to the doctor to deal with his voice, um, they were thoughtful enough to say, "Hey, when's the last time you got examined?" And so in doing so, I kind of got like a wake up call of, my own health proportions and realizing that, I need to do things and taking better care of myself.
Yeah, if she's done taking care of me.
And it's so funny because I was just thinking about this the other day about how, particularly women and women of color, especially, and you're often put in a situation where you care for everyone else. You're kind of seen as that strong person who doesn't complain about everything. But at the same time, that whole myth of the strong black woman, it's still just a myth.
You have an S on your chest.
Don't tell people that.
Okay, it's technically a J, but we'll go with an S. Yeah.
Anyway, so this week, Um, and taking care of Big Daddy, the roles were kind of reversed in a way where I had to take care of myself. And the good thing is, I'm glad that it was one of those things that, medically, I've got a heads up on it early. So I've been working on managing my stress this week and, learning to pull back and saying no when I need to. I've had a couple of situations this week where I was asked to take on tasks at work that just wasn't in my capacity to do so. And just being able to say, you know what, I really need for this person to step in and do these notes because I just can't. I'm not well and I need to take the day off and take care of myself. And so it turned out to be a blessing in disguise as, I fight my way through some kind of weird bug that was making its way through my office. But I just wanted to first of all say thank you to Big Daddy because he was such a big help this week.
It was shake and bake and I helped.
But more importantly, it kind of gave me a sense of just reevaluating what's really important and being able to take care of myself and listen to my body when I need to. I think that's one thing that I've been ignoring lately because, again, it's that whole thing where it's just like what doesn't kill you make you stronger, and that's not necessarily true. Sometimes what doesn't kill you will kill you in the end. It just takes some time. So I plan to be here for a while, so I wanted to just kind of put that out in the universe that, one of the things going forward from this week and how it's affected my health is just learning how to step back when I need to and just advocate for myself and do what I need. Outside of that, Big Daddy unfortunately wasn't the only person who experienced loss this week. I actually found out earlier today, and we're recording later than normal, that someone who was very important to my life, we always called her Miss Doris. That's not her full name, but my mom is from the South, and so if you really respect someone, you call them like their first name and then say Miss behind it. So those people who are legends in my house, like Patty LaBelle was always Miss Patty, for example.
Miss Patty.
Miss Patty.
Miss Patty with pies.
Miss Patty, Miss Tina instead of Tina Turner. And then, of course, Miss Doris. And just to say a few words about her, because she passed away earlier this morning. She was someone who was a true friend to our family. She introduced my mom and dad to each other. So I always like to think that my parents, who just celebrated their 46th wedding anniversary, she had a hand in putting them together. My mom's first job, she got my mom her first job. And even when my mom decided to go back to school, she took care of us. She was like her second mom. So losing someone like that was really, really kind of challenging. She's been sick and struggling with health issues for a while. And so one of the reasons why I think it's kind of a blessing that we wound up switching our recording schedule is I may have to, go pay my respects hopefully next weekend. That said, though, you always hear about people talk about it takes a village to raise a family. And in our regard, growing up, with our large family, it truly did. It took her intervening. So hats out to Miss Doris and her family, sending them much love and joy, thanking her for just instilling me the values that she had. She was truly a God-fearing woman. We went to, Bible study like every week. And looking back on it, I just didn't understand it. And now as an adult, I'm just like, wow. She just did what she wanted. She felt she had to do to, look after my family. She was kind of like a blessing anytime that we needed something. And she truly was my second mom. Plus, no offense, just as a side note, my love of the soap operas came from her. Every week when she took care of me, she would run in the kitchen. She'd be making me lunch when The Bold and the Beautiful was on, and she'd be yelling from the kitchen, "Girl, what did Bridge Forrester do today?" It's even Caroline. And I'd be like, yes. And I'd be reporting on stuff that I had no idea and no business talking about as a 7-year-old. But still, it was great. So, again, hats off to her and her family, just giving them love and respect. and just thanking her and putting it out to the universe that she was truly a great person. When she passed away, we were actually out when I got the news. And so, again, giving my thanks to Big Daddy, he was truly amazing this afternoon and kind of keeping my spirits up. And so, we were at lunch and he just said, hey, don't worry about it. He boxed up everything so, we wouldn't have to be there. He kind of sat with me while I got my tears out in public, which is always hard for me because I hate crying in front of other people. And then we decided just to, not go home because I just needed to clear my head. And of all places, we wound up going to, what was it? The County Line Apple Orchard?
Yeah, went to the apple orchard.
Yes.
To the orchard. Orchard. Yeah.
Yeah, so I know that sounds kind of corny. But let me explain. And, being in the Midwest, there's certain things that are kind of ubiquitous with it. For me, growing up, even in Indianapolis, apple picking was a thing. I know it's kind of sounds really corny, but like in my old neighborhood where I grew up as a teenager, with my mom and dad, they had bought a house and they had several apple trees in the back, as well as a grapevine. And so when I was a kid around the fall, what said fall to me was climbing the apple tree, sitting in there, reading a book, and just picking an apple and eating it. Yes, I just love that. That stuff was the best.
That was so special.
I know, it's corny as hell.
It is corny, but okay. Yeah, keep
It's
going.
corny, but it was life, Okay, look. Obviously, it sounds as basic as the ranch dressing, but it was part of who we are.
Basic.
Hey, because don't make fun, because even though going to the apple orchard and apple picking is basic, there is another ulterior motive that Big Daddy was convinced to go. And that's not only to cheer me up and distract me, but it's because of the apple cider donuts, which it's much a part of fall here in the Midwest and where I live, as of course, other stuff. I mean, it's just
more than like the apple cinnamon. It's pumpkin too.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Big Daddy's more of the pumpkin donut.
I do that. I do them both equally with love. I love cinnamon. Also, I like the pumpkin donut. I like donuts. Donuts.
That is true. I think if we've learned anything from the last podcast where we made our way through
the cinnamon rolls?
Yeah,
the previous the cupcakes?
No. Oh, yeah. The one where I took you to Long's Donuts.
Oh, yes. Donuts.
So the point I'm trying to make is that it's rather important. It was kind of like a fun distraction, shall I say. Maybe put it that way.
And my roommates didn't have, take, my baseball bat to whack whack apples. Remember that story? The one about, my roommates in college.
Oh, that's right. He went to the apple orchard and he was using the apple for baseballs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we basic, y'all.
I'm still pulling 20-some years later, pulling applesauce off this baseball bat.
If you learn anything about us on this damn podcast is, we basic.
We are special.
Life in the Midwest. So anyway, if you've never been, the County Line Apple Orchard is actually one of the largest in Northwest Indiana. It's huge, and it's apple orchard and apple picking. It's only open for a defined time. So whenever you think of fall, you think of that, because they usually open in the second week of September, and it runs through mid-October.
Yes. And
during that time, they have everything. I'm not kidding. They have hay rides, and they have all these places you can go pick apples in the back.
But you get popcorn.
Yes, they do have specialty popcorn, including the popcorn that you can pop off the cob. Again, I know that sounds incredibly corny to those of my listeners, but that is what it happens. But then
you can get all these big old pumpkins.
Yes, they have ginormous pumpkins, but the real reason why you go here is the apple cider donuts, because again, you can only get them for 2 months here in Northwest Indiana, and then when they close the orchard, it's closed into the following year. So the key is you go to this orchard, you wait in line, and then you get these apple donuts and pumpkin, because Big Daddy loves the pumpkins. And then you actually freeze them, and then you enjoy the donuts out throughout the year, right?
I never see these donuts after they hit the freezer.
Okay, let's talk about that. Because every year I show you where the donuts are, and then you never go to the deep freezer and get them.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind. For some reason, once they leave my sight, I never see them again. So I have to get my haul before they see the freezer.
And then it's hilarious because then Big Daddy's like, "Wait, are you eating a donut?" And it's usually like he'll ask me that in January, and I'm like, "Yeah, I froze like 3,000."
3,000 donuts? Is this something you would tell me?
I really like the donut.
I paid $1 a donut. Is there anything you ain't told me about this finance of these donuts?
3 dozen donuts usually is what I get. Okay. And you can freeze both the apple cider donuts and the pumpkin donuts, but you don't want to freeze the pumpkin donuts because they have like a glaze on it. And when you reheat them, it gets kind of soggy. But the apple cider donuts, they freeze perfectly. So you get like a ton of them, and then you freeze them because this place is only open like for 2 months of the year. And then the rest of the year, you're enjoying apple cider donuts and coffee. That's how you do it.
Okay.
So usually there's like a line where you can get fresh donuts, and then they have these ginormous bins where they just put the excess donuts so people who don't want to stand in line and get them the packaged ones they can walk away with. When we got there today, oh my God, all the bins were picked dry. Like these bins were almost as tall as I am, and they were empty.
All these Midwestern corn-fed big kids and whatever, they went through. Hey, nothing wrong with that. We come, fully stocked. And I told you when walking in the door that, we can look for the bins, but man, they went through those bins so quick. And I said, you have to have technology. This is almost like Black Friday. You have to go in groups, and you have to when you get in line, you have to step over little children. You have to knock all these little frilly salad-eating people out of the way. No. When you come to get your donuts, you gotta come real. You gotta bring, you have to have partners, to be able to get because you saw people walking out with dozens of donuts, and their poor husbands just walking out struggling with these bins of these donuts.
Yeah, people get pretty aggressive.
They get serious.
And the funny thing was, he did warn me about this, okay? Because keep in mind, we pull up in the spot, and the apple orchard just opened recently. So when I say that people go nuts, they go nuts. Like they're we drove past whole school buses full of people coming to get the apples, right? And they come as far as Chicago and Michigan and Wisconsin in some places. I met someone
even though Michigan got their own damn apples.
Yeah, but they'll come here for our orchard apples because they're so good.
Yeah.
So we pulled in, and Big Daddy's like, okay. Are you, first of all, he's trying to make sure I'm okay. I'm still crying. Are you all right? And then I'm like, okay, well, let's just go and get some donuts. So we walk in, and sure enough, there's a huge line. And I was like, oh, well, they have apple cider. Because the other thing they have that's really good, I know this sounds so cheesy, but they have apple cider slushes that are really yummy.
Yeah, she hit that pretty good.
So I usually go and they sell other stuff besides apple stuff. So
yeah, all kind of nice little trinkets and
they
stuff.
have little trinkets. They usually have lots of really good kits for soups for the fall. So I got some Cincinnati chili cooking kit and some other things that they sell exclusively over there. Yeah. And all the while, as I'm waiting for this and the slush, Big Daddy's like, we gotta get in line for the apple donuts. Oh, no, we'll be fine. Jay, we gotta get in line for the apple donuts. So finally I get my slushie. He gets his water. I'm like, okay, let's just go and get the apple. The line for the apple donuts went halfway down the length of the barn.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, they have this ginormous barn that you go to, and then the back is there's a place for hayride, there's a maze, and then there's the orchards. Mm-hmm. And so the barn, how big do you think the barn was? The barn is the length of a football stadium, right? Just shy of that?
I don't want to say it's a football stadium, but I mean, I'm willing to say, yeah, so if your typical, Midwestern, horse barn, 12 horses deep,
No, it's bigger than that.
I'm not saying we're gonna say like it's about stable size.
Okay, so it's a pretty large size bar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the lines, I mean, the places that you can get, and they sell other stuff. So they have like fudge, which was funny because we just realized that they sold fudge because we're usually there for the donuts.
Yes.
They sell homemade soda, but then they sell pies. I did know about the pies. I never make their pies though because I like to make my own pie. But yeah, the line for the donuts.
Because you bougie.
The line for the donuts
was about 60 long.
Yeah, at least 60 people deep.
Mm-hmm.
And Big Daddy gives me this look like, I told you we should have got in line first with the donuts.
Yeah. We don't know how long they've been doing this day. We don't know how much they baked.
Come on. So I'm laughing like, okay, all right. We're going to get these donuts. And at first I thought, maybe we should come back for the donuts. And then he gives me this look like, no, child, we leaving with the donuts. Okay, fine. So we stand in line for the donuts. And it took us, well, to be honest, we went fairly fast for it being 60 people deep.
Yeah, I mean, they moved it. They weren't messing around. There was a processing plant back there.
They had us going
within
they have
like
their stuff prepackaged.
about 8 minutes. They were ready.
Yeah, so it took us about 8 or 9 minutes in line to get, and we picked up the donuts.
Yeah, I had my arms ready. I was like doing push-ups before I got up to the line.
The funny thing was, as I was placing and getting the donuts, because we got like 3 dozen. What was it? Like 2 dozen apple and then a dozen pumpkin.
Mm.
And some of the pumpkin and the apple I'm going to take to work because my coworkers have never had them.
Yeah, they don't need to know that.
Well, they already know.
They don't need to know that.
They asked about it.
You have to divulge. You ain't got to tell them.
Well, to be honest, I don't know if all of them listen to the podcast.
That's
don't
okay.
Think they all know.
They don't need no none. No. I don't know. No.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So as I'm getting these donuts, the next lady in line literally like walked over Big Daddy.
They stepped over me. I'm like, I'm
little
too. My little individuals.
They're not playing. And Big Daddy looked at me like, I told you we have to be prepared to toss little kids out the way. You thought I was kidding.
Yeah, like these little, these little Midwestern girls, they were just stepping over, like walking past me, behind me. I'm like,
ooh, she was aggressive. And then we shot a look at each other, and it was that moment of, okay, you know you did something wrong, right? And then I thought, I'm not jeopardizing these donuts for her. I will take a nasty thought about you, but I went and 8 and 10 minutes in line for these damn donuts. So I'm just gonna, you know what you did.
She went straight to she gave him De Niro look. Like, yeah, we're gonna see what happens to you. We're gonna find you out in the back, with a horse.
It'll be like cash me on side. How about that? But first these donuts, because we have to protect them. Because then we have to get back in line if I have to lose them. And I don't want to do that again.
No, we don't need that.
It's not like you're not worth a donut, but... And I gave you a look, too, like, even when you say something. And Big Daddy was like, nah, protect the donuts.
Yeah, protect the donuts. Why? Because I ate 2 donuts before I got out of line, so I'm good.
Yes, you can get the individual donut.
Wait a minute. They're off my shoulders. Thank you.
So at least you can say you had the donuts.
That's right, I did.
So the question I have is, are these donuts better than the Long's donuts? But I guess it's kind of unfair to compare.
You want your brothers to whoop my ass. Huh?
You know what?
No, I know better than that.
Long's Donuts has the best glazed donuts on the planet.
Yes, Long's Donuts have the best glazed donuts on the planet.
That said... Because
your brothers told me that. And I'm sticking to it. Yes, they are the best glazed donuts on the planet.
Okay, he's making it sound like my brothers beat him up. They don't.
They was talking to me outside, and I didn't know what they was carrying. No, but my brother-in-laws are cool and they're straight. I'm down with them. But same time, yeah, they was very highly influencing me. Like, hey, how you feel about them donuts? They good? No, how you feel about them donuts? How you feel about them, dude? They real good, dude. No.
Well, I guess the fact that they were all standing over you.
They were standing over me hunched over. I'm like,
that was kind of cute.
I'm like, they're very good. Please, don't hurt me. This is serious. I don't want to get hurt.
Look,
No, they were good. They were really straight. They were good.
Look, we don't share our donuts with everyone. Long's Donuts is kind of an Indiana secret.
I got you.
So now, like the county line, so if you're in the Chicagoland area, the county line orchard, do recommend going. It's a lot of fun. Be prepared to wait if you want the donuts. They have other good stuff too. Like they have really good queso. I don't know why their queso is just amazing. Mm-hmm. But it's in Holbrook, Indiana, and I'll put the information in the show notes. So despite our hilarious trip to get the donuts and how it almost broke into a knuck if you buck moment.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later. I wanted to thank Big Daddy for suggesting that we go because it was just a distraction I needed to kind of get over the bad news of today. So, really appreciate that and can't wait to dig into the donuts.
It's shaking, bacon. I help.
So we're going to take a quick break right now before we go into the pop culture segment of what we like to call What's Eating Us. In the meantime, you're listening to the Gourmet Goober, and we will be right back.
Let's do dirt.
Hey everybody, this is JJ Outlaw, better known as the Gourmet Goober. And have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions like how do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all those apps that people like to listen to? Hey, how do I even make money from my podcast? Well, the answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise in your podcast. This means that you get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's kind of what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. I love Anchor. It makes it super easy from start to finish. The whole process can be done from the app, from recording to distribution. I just adore it. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast and while making money doing so, just go to anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. Hey everyone, we are back. This is JJ Outlaw and I'm here with T Outlaw, and we are again in our pop culture segment we like to call What's Eating Us. And before we go any further, there is one thing that we forgot to mention last segment that was kind of a carryover from the previous podcast we did, #Chicken Wars. And that is that, believe it or not, there is more to the Chicken Wars right now.
There's more to the Chicken Wars.
So as we talked about the last podcast, y'all, we ate up 7 weeks worth of chicken at Popeyes.
Not us individually.
Okay, we personally didn't do it, but collectively as a nation, we hit up Popeyes and ate up 7 weeks worth of chicken in about 2 weeks. And so Popeyes is going through the serious withdrawal, which it's almost hilarious in how they're trying to handle it. Like the other day, I stopped by a store that was next door to the Popeyes near where I work. And I noticed that there's all these like posters and handwritten signs saying, "We are out of chicken sandwiches.
We ain't got no chicken. We're
done.
We ain't got your
ask
chicken.
us for your chicken sandwich. We don't have it," which I think it's hysterical because it's in your name. How do you run out of chicken for the chicken sandwich?
Yeah, it's like you serving us 2 pieces, but you ain't got no chicken for the chicken sandwich?
That's weird.
Yeah.
So anyway, Popeyes, because they realize that they're missing out on people going to the store. They want that money. So Popeyes thoughtfully came up with a solution.
Oh, God. Their solution.
Their solution is you bring your own bun to Popeyes. And when you come with your own bun to Popeyes, you will be able to get 3 chicken tenders and you can make your own sandwich.
Wait a minute. Okay. If that was the problem to begin with, okay, if they're going to offer me 3 chicken tenders, what the hell is it the bread that you're running out of, or is it the chicken?
I thought that was kind of crazy. Because then there's no standard bun. So what's to stop them people from like, I don't know, bringing like a huge, you know,
Big old hoagie bun.
a hoagie bun or like a French baguette or something.
Yeah. If
How
you want, I got some dudes that can
that?
make me. Yeah, I could go into like the kitchen and make me a big old long, lengthy thing of bread, like one of them like Dagwoods.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, give me one of them big bad boys and just be like, hey,
Dagwoods.
Popeyes, what y'all gonna hook me up with? We can make us a nice little Sunday dinner.
Well, keep in mind, it doesn't matter. You probably want to moderate the size of the bun because
I ain't got to moderate a damn thing.
You're only going to get 3 chicken tenders. But here's the thing. They don't offer any mayonnaise. They don't give you any pickles. You just get the chicken tenders.
No.
No remoulade sauce. So they actually put this out in the ad campaign on social media, and I'm just thinking, not sure that's going to go very well. Although that may stop that weird guy from suing them.
No, I won't.
So, Big Daddy, are you ready to take a bun over to Popeyes and make your own sandwich?
No, I'm gonna bring me some Wonder Bread. I got me where I'm bringing me a whole loaf. Be like coming through every 5 minutes. I need another 3. I mean,
at least hook you up with a pickle. The pickles would make the sandwich.
Bring me the remoulade sauce and mayonnaise and all this stuff. Yeah, hook a brother up.
So, if you are so inclined,
bring me some hot sauce.
go to Popeyes if you want to get that replacement for that good sandwich, and just know, bring your own bun.
Bring my own bun.
And if you do this, please tweet us or tag us on social media at the Goob, #TheGoob, because I want to see how they handle that. Because I thought about it, but I'm not that petty to bring my own bun. That's kind of extra.
I am.
That's extra for me, and I'm an extra person. I admit it.
I'm petty. I'm just lazy. Sometimes.
The other thing that's kind of weird that it's the new addition to the chicken wars. I guess KFC watched everyone go insane over the Popeyes versus the Chick-fil-A question.
And they played quiet for a while.
Exactly. But what they are now doing, and they're rolling it out, and they're only doing it in certain parts of the country right now, they're test marketing a fried chicken sandwich with 2 donuts as the bun.
I'm sorry, did you say 2 donuts?
Yes. It's like the Luther from the Boondocks.
Yeah.
But instead of a burger, it's fried chicken.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm almost more intrigued with, can I make this thing into a Luther?
Okay.
With I want it so good that I'm ready to have the bed laid out for me.
Oh, so you're just, well, to be honest, a fried chicken sandwich with 2 donuts for the bun, that's going to automatically put you into itis anyway.
No.
And
a Luther's for closers.
Should we explain to our audience what the itis is?
No.
Google the itis. ITIS. We're just going to move on. But it's a thing.
Appendicitis.
It's the itis. Just the itis.
Yeah.
Yes. So, no word yet whether or not this KFC burger or fried chicken sandwich will give you the itis. However, if you do not live in the places where they're test marking this, which, by the way, it looks kind of dumb because it looks like they don't slice the donut. I've had donut burgers before. And what they do, there's one place in Northwest Indiana that I recommend if you want to try something like that. It's called Nancy's Cafe. It's in Lake Station?
Is Nancy still open?
Nancy's still open after their fire.
Okay.
They opened in a new location. Unfortunately, she was at a place for years, and then there was this devastating fire in Lake Station that took out a lot of the surrounding buildings, including hers. But she was able to reopen her cafe.
There's something that bothers me about that. I mean, I feel bad for him, whatever, but did she have a she shed?
I don't think she had a she shed there.
For all you kids out there, with the State Farm commercial, I always want to make sure who really did burn down the she shed. It wasn't. I don't believe it was lightning.
My husband's convinced that the husband burned down the she shed.
I'm just saying, Victor did look a little suspicious standing there. Oh, that's wonderful news.
Victor didn't seem like he was all that concerned about putting water on the she shed, too.
No. A little trickle of water wasn't going to get it. But yeah. All about that she said. I mean, and no, I'm not trying to disrespect, Nancy's or whatever. Like, because they did make good sandwiches and whatever. But I was like, I don't know why that ran into my head. I'm sorry, continue.
So Nancy's Cafe in Lake Station, Indiana, they have this incredible donut burger. And what they do is they take like a big glazed donut, they slice it in half, they flip it over, right? They grill it so that the sweet part is on the burger and like the inside is like of what would be the donut, like the middle sliced in half is like the top and bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really good, and you kind of get the benefit of the glaze, so you get the sweetness with the savory, and it's really, really tasty. But Burger King, I'm not Burger King, KFC didn't do that. KFC literally just took two random ass glazed donuts and put a fried chicken
Sandwich in the middle of it.
Yeah, fried chicken like breasts in the middle of it. And I'm just like, oh, you're missing out on so much opportunity there. But if you do not live in the places where they're test marketed, and I'll be honest, looking at the sandwich, it does not look appealing. But I do have a far tastier suggestion. In Chicago, there is a group of restaurants that's under the name Do Right Donuts.
Do Right Donuts.
And Do Right Donuts, first of all, I gotta acknowledge Do Right Donuts.
The Do Right Donuts.
Their donuts are so good. But it's one of those donut places that, like, they make only so much donuts a day. And when they out, they out. Like, they just close whenever they run out. So don't ask them if they're out of the Fahelia chocolate one or the Meyer lemon pistachio one. When it's gone, it's gone. And the thing that they are known for is they're known for this incredible candied maple bacon donut, which is incredible. And I've literally seen people cry in line because they come for this donut. Like, in the morning, like, there's like a line out the door for their donuts.
Kind of like Longs.
And one time I went there because I was like, oh, I'm going to get donuts for the office. And so I really wanted to try the maple bacon donut. And I was in line, and the person that was two people ahead of me bought like 13 of them, like the last 13 for their office. And the person in front of me that was behind them offered to buy it off of them. Like, it almost came to blows. I've never seen people fight over donuts before.
That's the other thing you'll see a Do Right. Every once in a while, some suburbanite, metro-looking women, like, are up in there, like, about to throw hands. Like,
they're ready to lay hands on these donuts, for these donuts. But there are multiple locations, so don't go to the one in downtown Chicago near River North. There's like another location they have. But anyway, they have fried chicken sandwiches, and for $1 more, you can get any donut you want to be the bun of the sandwich. So it's not like a basic, because they don't have basic glazed donuts. Their donuts, again, are next level.
Okay, so they're not Taylor Swifty. Every episode, I have to drop a Taylor Swift reference, but...
One day a Taylor Swift fan is going to listen to our show and going to be like, you guys are the worst people out there. Although I can't say anything because today, technically, it's Earth, Wind, and Fire Day, where you're supposed to play, like, because it comes from the song September, and they mention specifically the 21st of September.
Okay.
And I tweeted out, today it's Earth, Wind, and Fire Day, we should all celebrate. But by listening to September.
By Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Don't listen to the Taylor Swift one. I didn't mention her by name, but I said, don't listen to the other bland song because no one wants that.
Did you just say Taylor Swift's September was bland?
Oh my God, that just took all the joy out of that song. Like, literally, the person who wrote the song basically said it was the most joyless thing she's ever heard.
There's paint drying on the walls from that song.
That's about the only thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, we just thought that before we go any further, we'd give you a run up to the Chicken Wars since it was such a popular episode last week.
Yeah.
That said, one of the things that we talked about last week was what happens after the Chicken Wars is over. Like, what is the next pop culture phenomenon that's going to take place, right?
Wait a minute, isn't that like what happened after the Chicken Wars? Is that like what happened after the Infinity Wars, where like half the world is gone? Is it like like half the chicken in the world is gone? The chickens don't die of natural causes. All of a sudden, but like, all the roosters seem to be missing.
Well,
Falcon and Leghorn, gone.
we talked about that last week, how when they sold out a chicken, it was like Thanos just snapped his fingers and all the chickens were gone.
Yeah.
Or if you guys follow Roy Wood Jr. on either Instagram or Twitter, and he is a hilarious comedian. He's on The Daily Show. He got to start doing prank calls, and if you ever have a chance, Google a history of his prank calls. There's one in particular that is just hysterical.
That we'll bring up later.
But yeah, he actually went as far as did this hilarious 10-part episode series called The Coalition. And it was all of these chicken sandwiches from all the different restaurants, from Bojangles to KFC to Hardee's and Carl Jr. and Church's. And they're all conspiring to get rid of Popeyes because Popeyes chicken is so popular, their other chicken is being ignored. So I personally think that might be something to that. But if you want to go with the Thanos snapping his fingers and the chicken disappearing,
the joy luckless yard birds,
we can go with that too. But anyway, it came up in the last podcast, and you asked me specifically what I think the next thing will happen that will just totally be the perfect story of the intersection between pop culture and food. And I said specifically it's pumpkin spice, because it's pumpkin spice season.
Yes, it is.
And if you haven't been living under a rock, you probably noticed that everything, oh my God, like we went to the grocery store today after we went to the apple orchard because we decided to make the Cincinnati chili and we had to get some things. I counted no less than 12 items that was pumpkin spice, to limited edition pumpkin spice beer, to pumpkin spice cereals that were really popular, like Special K, and Frosted Mini Wheats had a pumpkin spice version. There, of course, is some pumpkin spice lattes, which seems to debut early and earlier every year. And I think it didn't even wait till September this time. I think it was like the last 2 weeks of August. People were like, pumpkin spice! And
PSL is real, y'all.
Yeah, PSL.
I knew that garbage was real when like they introduced like somebody dropped that YouTube video like pumpkin spice hot dogs. That was a fight that really shouldn't have had.
Wait,
that's when you
someone
lost
made pumpkin spice hot dogs? Are you kidding?
Yeah, when they put pumpkin spice crap on top of traditional hot dog.
Okay.
Bun and everything.
You know, I used to think adding ketchup to a hot dog is the most disgusting thing you can do. No, the pumpkin spice that's just nasty.
Yeah. That's when we knew they had gone too far.
So, what is the craziest thing that you've ever seen with that made pumpkin spice? And here's the thing, because you are not particularly a fan of pumpkin spice, although you love the pumpkin donuts.
I'm stupid. I get it. But yeah, pumpkin spice rum.
Is that a thing?
It was a year or so ago.
Okay, now, let me just preface this by saying that I don't drink because I'm allergic to alcohol, actually. It's one of the weird genetic things that just make me odd, to the point where even drinking Old Duels is enough to get me plastered, so I have to be really careful. But I can't wrap my brain around rum because I've never had rum in my life because, I don't know, I want to live. But outside of that, pumpkin spice, did you try it?
Hell no. I like me.
Like, would you ever try pumpkin spice?
Hell no.
Alcohol-based beverage?
I like me. No, I'm like I said, I've consumed like different types of rum. I think the first like alcoholic drink I had was rum and Coke. But
do you mix pumpkin spice rum with Coke? Oh,
hell to no.
Terrible.
Someone Whitney Houston got him and said, child. No. And no disrespect to Whitney
Houston. The ghost of Whitney Houston's like, no, child.
But yeah, I knew that was too far. They had taken that trend way to the other side of the earth.
I don't know. It just seems like, what do you think is behind the obsession with pumpkin spice? And part of it is I don't legitimately understand, because I admit I do like pumpkin spice lattes. Although they changed the formula, and so they add real pumpkin to it, and for some reason, it depends on who makes it. It sometimes is a little gritty,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not a fan. But like Dunkin' has a really good pumpkin spice latte version that's really kind of yummy too, and I like that. But basically, outside of that, I never grew up eating pumpkin. Like in my house, the great pumpkin versus sweet potato pie debate, and it was always sweet potato.
Yeah, sweet potato. In the world, pumpkin versus sweet potato.
Sweet potato wins.
Yeah.
And obviously that's a cultural thing, and we can talk about that later. But by and far, I don't understand when it became such a thing. Like, it wasn't a thing when we were kids, right?
No, but then, of course, I didn't really give a damn. It was
okay.
It's like, hey, it's pumpkin. Yeah, it's over there. That's for people who like pumpkin. I don't even remember, like, when growing up, like, whether I was because I've asked, like, family members, like, do you remember eating pumpkin pie? They were like, no, we always ate sweet potato pie. Okay, that's all I remember. But I really didn't start eating pumpkin until I went to college, and
I'm going to say something that's probably going to get me in trouble with some listeners, but
I tried to stay away from it.
But we got to say it. I never knew any black person when I was a kid growing up who ate pumpkin pie. Like, the first time I had pumpkin pie was when I went to that integrated school.
Okay.
Like, I was like, and of course it kind of looks like sweet potato pie, and then you bite into it and you're like, oh, what's this? And they would be like, oh, it's pumpkin pie. I'm like, I thought y'all just carved the pumpkin. But then again, I never knew people carved pumpkins either. I just thought that was something you saw on Charlie Brown's Christmas or something.
Yeah, I think we did in school.
We never did that. I was in college before I carved my first pumpkin. And I don't know, I just don't get the thrill of it. But
that's okay. I get, like, the first time I had pumpkin pie was from a teacher in college, and he made, I guess, pumpkin pie from a pumpkin orchard. But then, of course, that dude looked like Joe Biden, so take that for the grain of salt as you will.
Well, anyway, I'm not really sure why the attraction.
Because kind of like with bacon. Bacon makes everything better. Now,
do not compare pumpkin spice to bacon.
Yeah, I'm not trying to, be play blasphemous with.
Yeah, pumpkin spice does not compare to bacon.
No, it does not, because bacon makes everything better, whereas pumpkin spice is like, you got to have limits to things. Speaking
of limits, did you see that they're actually coming out with a pumpkin spice Spam? I'm not making this up. It's a limited edition. It actually rolls out on September 23rd. You can only catch it online through Amazon.com and through Walmart. But they actually have pumpkin spice Spam. And I was reading, I think it was like Food and Wine magazine, where they actually tried it. And they compared it to like maple sausage, like breakfast food.
I thought it was like maple horse shit.
Clearly, you're not looking to try it.
No.
And I love. Okay, I admit in another episode, I admitted my our interview with the chef's table. I'm a Spam fan. I have to watch it because it's really salty and everything. But
okay,
I personally like Spam, and I think pumpkin spice Spam might be a shove too far.
I think you should try it.
Really?
Yeah. I think the makers of this concoction should send you a sample.
All right.
And I think you should try it.
Here's what I'm going to do. Do you want me to go online and I can order a can and then we try together?
Wait a minute, with your own money?
Look, we don't have the Reed following. They're just not going to send me a can.
I don't know what they're going to do at the same time. I just need to know if I'm paying for this. Or you're paying for this.
Yes, a can of Spam. It's not that expensive.
We
can have an Amazon Prime. We get free shipping.
You could feed a whole little child in Indonesia with that price of this pumpkin spice Spam.
All right,
but that's on you. Whatever you want to do with it.
If I get it, we both try it.
Wait a minute, when did I get in this?
Come on, we're a team.
Wait a minute, I don't know you like that, sister. Hey, Kimosabi, me know nothing about that.
Okay, so after almost 15 years of marriage, you see how he forgets about me when it comes to trying things. Okay, I got you.
Uh-huh.
So outside of the pumpkin spice stuff, what says fall foods to you? I'm just curious.
Fall foods. Uh, I'm always a good. It's really weird to know this about me personally, but I don't usually eat steaks until fall. I don't know why. It's like I
Really?
need things that stick to my ribs and like usually steaks are like a good cut of steak, like a ribeye or like a tenderloin, it's like a sirloin or something. Like usually I don't eat them until fall. Always a big fan of chilies and soups. Um, yeah, generally like turkeys. Most of those I know going into Thanksgiving and stuff like that. But yeah, and especially Halloween candy. But yes, absolutely. During fall, I like to get things that stick to my ribs a little more.
It's funny that you mentioned Halloween candy because
Mm,
when we were getting ready to go to
the apple orchard.
the apple orchard, it started to rain, and so we were in the car for a few minutes, and I wanted to take an opportunity to gather myself, and Big Daddy was awesome. He was just like, hey, are you sure you're...
Can you stand the rain? Yeah.
Outside of that, he was asking, hey, are you okay? Because you've been crying. Are you sure you want to go out in public? And I just thought that being out and about will kind of give me a chance to get my mind off of Miss Stars' passing. But we got into a very interesting discussion about fall foods because we knew we were going to be talking on a podcast later. And we were talking about candy that only comes out during a certain time of the year in the fall. And you reminded me particularly of candy corn and circus peanuts as being two, which, by the way, both candies are just abomination to life itself. But Big Daddy seems to love them, and I don't understand why.
Okay, the word love. I love you. I love my family. I loved my pet. I'm not gonna say I love candy corn or I love circus peanuts, but
You eat them, though.
I ate them.
I just don't understand how you can eat them.
One, past tense, but two, yes, if someone were to set candy corn or circus peanuts in front of me, yes, I would partake of some because yes, it's something when growing up, I do remember enjoying from time to time, yes. But I'm not gonna say like I fiend for it like I fiend for jelly beans. But no, I'm not deep into like circus peanuts or you know what? I'm gonna straight down. I'm gonna blame my mama for this. I'm blaming my mom. See, my mama, God rest her soul. Straight down. She used to like circus peanuts on the slide. She likes circus peanuts every once in a while, so I got involved with liking circus peanuts. I don't know why she liked candy corn. It was a very short time she liked candy corn, but for some reason, like candy corn, like the little pumpkin cream looking things, the little concoctions they have in the autumn mix. I don't know. For some reason, I took to those. Maybe it's because okay. Do you remember like in Halloween candy
Right.
when they would have like these different candies? Because like I never grew up with like the people who would give you the full candy bars and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but there would always be like these different kinds of candy that everybody would eat. And, there will always be these certain ones that are left behind. And for some reason, the candy corn, the circus peanuts, the autumn mix, all those goofy ones that got left behind that nobody ate, for some reason, I was like, man, I must have been like the slave in the house. I was like, I guess I was just going to eat the pork rinds from the back of it. But yeah, I was the one who ate the candy corn.
Okay, first of all, I'm really sad to hear this. But on the other hand, you know that there's like one thing that's even worse than that.
What's that?
That's the candy mix that I usually get from Family Dollar that we give out every year.
Oh, you gonna let that out? Hey, I got people who might be listening to this podcast who know what happens to that.
Okay, we're not going to discuss what happens to it afterwards. Okay. So, Big Daddy and I both have sweet tooths. Okay? And so he's not a fan of handing out Halloween candy, but I love Halloween. I'm just obsessed with that holiday. I can't wait to re-record a podcast for it because Halloween is my jam. Like, I love scary movies. I love dressing up. I love the kids and the trick-or-treating. I'm just corny. I love all this stuff. So, but I have a problem because we both have a sweet tooth. And so if I was to buy like the good candy, like the Snickers, the M&Ms, all that good stuff, I will buy it, and then undoubtedly it'll be left over, and we'll be eating that stuff until like Christmas, and it's not good for us. So I came up with a plan several years ago that
If
I
left to our own
personally think,
devices, if it was the good candy, yeah, it wouldn't make it to Thanksgiving.
yes, but I personally think this is ingenious, and Big Daddy thinks it's devious. So if you go to the Family Dollar store
The day before Halloween.
the day before Halloween, all the good candy's finally gone, right? So what they have left is this weird bag of mixed candy. Like, some of the stuff... First of all, some of the stuff on the candy is not even in English.
No.
They just show, like, a picture of, like, an apple, or, like, they have, like, some nondescript berry that we still haven't figured out what it is.
Mm-mm.
And it has, like, what it is in, like, a language we can't decipher. Usually you can get a bag of that, like a big bag of that, for like $2 or $3. So the thing is, if you give that candy out, legit, it's candy.
Mm-hmm.
And technically some of it tastes good. It just loses its flavor really quickly, like
within 10 seconds of it being in your mouth.
But we still give out the candy, and if we're stuck with it, we don't have to worry because we know we're not eating it.
Yeah, for the people egging our house, we're the ones who give you like the really crappy, hap candy.
None of these kids are listening to our podcast.
That's right. And neither are their parents.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're the ones giving you the candy. Like, they're basically the candy. If you've ever seen those little kids who, like, break the piano open.
Now that I say that out loud, that sounded really awful what I do.
Yeah, that's on you. But at the same time, it's basically the candy that gets dropped out of the piano.
Yes. But
Yeah.
You know what? What's even worse than that, and I found this out the other day, and we talked about it, there's actually a company called Archie McPhee that this year is coming out with kale-flavored candy canes.
Kale-flavored candy canes.
Yes. So Archie McPhee is a novelty candy and funny toy emporium. And the Today Show reported last week that they're rolling out this new flavor. And they're known for their bizarre flavors. So last year, if you're on social media, you may recall they had the mac and cheese candy canes, which sounds utterly disgusting.
Oof.
They also put out candy canes that is pizza flavored candy canes.
Oof.
And then ham flavored candy canes, which they called Hamdy canes.
Hamdy canes.
So the newest flavor that they're coming out with is kale.
Kale canes.
And they said it does taste sweet, grassy, with a bitter note, just like the real kale is. And it comes, and it's packaged in, it's green and white, so don't mistake it for mint candy cane, because it is not.
Yeah, it's like, don't want to mess up the spearmint love of that.
And keep in mind, I'm obsessed with kale. I love kale. But even I won't eat kale candy canes. I think if I gave that out this year, we would probably legit get egg. Would you try it though?
I would move out of the city if we handed those out.
We'd have to go into witness protection.
I'd be below witness protection. I'd just be like, so become a Canadian. Even the Canadians be like, nah, you got too late. You were the ones who were getting out that Kaylee King stuff. No, I couldn't. I like me too much.
So they officially come out with it next week, so you'll probably see it on stores. And
wait a minute.
They usually...
I just thought about that for a minute.
What?
Why would they give it out during Halloween? Usually you give out candy canes during Christmas, right?
True.
See, the kids already know that there's something up with this. Because I'm like, these kids will look at you like, wait a minute, why are you giving us the experiment-looking candy canes? It's Halloween, one, but two...
that would be terrible, because you would bite into them thinking they're spearmint, and they're not.
That's right. And then you'd be like, oh, hold on a minute. I don't want to get stabbed with a kale-flavored candy cane.
Now, is that better or worse than the pickle-flavored candy cane they came out with?
Okay, well... pretty nasty. I'm willing to say the kale flavored candy cane is probably worse than the pickle flavored candy cane. Because at least with a pickle flavored candy cane in some areas of South Chicago, you could probably... wait a minute. Wasn't there a thing? What's the thing in Chicago, South Chicago, with the candy cane and a pickle?
Oh, what you do is,
Oh, it's Kool Aid.
no, no, no. You're right. In the
Okay.
south side of Chicago, one of the things that people eat, it's kind of a treat, is they eat a pickle that a hole has been carved out of it and you insert like a peppermint. So it's supposed to be the sweetness of the peppermint and the sourness of the pickle, and it's supposed to go really well together. I've never tried it, although I want to try it.
Okay.
Although Peter Sagal, who is the host of Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, you can Google it. He actually had this like feature that he used to do for NPR where he would try unique food. And one of the things he tried was the pickle and the peppermint. So you can kind of Google his response. Peter was kind of taken aback by it. But it is one of those unique things of Chicago that you can only find on the South Side, like, taffy grapes, for example,
Taffy
or
grapes.
the atomic cake. I mean, that's just another weird thing that you can only find in Chicago.
Yeah.
So, anyway, definitely want to move on, but I'm gonna say I'm gonna skip the kill candy cane.
Yeah, and the pumpkin spice spam.
Oh no! Now you have me convinced. I'm gonna actually get that and try it. I'm just gonna make it one day and not tell you what it is.
You don't like me.
So outside of that, the other thing in pop culture that really got us, and we were joking about it all week, was this new development that we found out from the Daily Show that scientists from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology have unveiled what they call the blackest black color ever produced at an art exhibition in New York City. The material, which is 10 times blacker than anything ever been reported, is cut out so it absorbs 99.995% of all light.
Like Dove soap.
Yes. Only the opposite of that, because it's just really black.
And I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. I'm blickety black, blacker than black, black, I'm blacker than black, yo, because I'm black and I'm black. Yo, I'm black and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black.
Did I say that enough? I'm just saying. Apparently, it's black. It's blacker than black.
First of all, don't you think it's weird that they're actually developing that? Like, who asked for that?
I'm sure there are some scientists somewhere who's like, can we come up with like a crazy, as opposed to like, something like, moon, travel, Mars. Yeah, let's come up with a whole different color of going black.
Oh yeah, I'm with like Trevor Noah was talking about this as well, about the whole idea of we can solve cancer. We can go to Mars. No. It's like the guy with the two crayons and yellow, blue makes green.
Yeah.
Like, dude! Like, first of all, okay, on one hand, this is really interesting, but I'm just trying to figure out what would be the purpose. Like, I think we saw that there's like a car company that wants a car, like, paint their car that black, like they're calling it Vanta Black or something.
Yeah, like, was it BMW?
I would say it was, but I'm just...
Yeah, I'm just like, that's a bit much. But two, I would like to follow the chance of that. Like, why you gotta call it the blackest black? Can't y'all just give it like a really sexy name? We talking about like, deep, deep, deep black, like vibranium black. We talking about like,
So you're saying it's the name, right?
Yeah, because I'm like, blackity black, black is black. Can you come up with like a darker black than black?
First of all, why would you want a car that color though? Like, who can see it at night? You could just see like the headlights or something.
That's right.
That seems insane.
It's like a very dark, like like Flavor Flav black.
Plus, no offense,
like hard onyx black.
if it truly has the thing like it being, just straight up the blackest black, I'm with Roy Jr., who again was on the segment on the Daily Show. We should test it. Obviously, we could just ask the scientists who put this together questions to make sure that he's eligible to make something that black. Like, what is that line about the chow line in?
No, you just gave away the answer to the question. In the Good Times song, what is the last line hanging in what?
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, can you ask me questions like, general questions like, so Marcus Garvey, who is he? Asking questions like, what really did happen to James on Good Times?
What happened to the sister in Family Matters when she went up the stairs?
That's right.
More importantly, do you know what is the most hypest song in the world? Like, if you heard this song, which you know exactly what it is. Which apparently you didn't.
Which apparently I didn't. Okay, fine. I will take the L for this. Yes, I did not know.
When we were actually watching this, and we were joking about what kind of test that you would make. And I said that in order to pass this black, you would have to prove that you're the blackest black. You need to know what this following song is. So I was joking about that. And Big Daddy is like, what is that?
Yeah, okay, because once again, I have not listened to anything like, street cred wise since
Look, if your book is
2006.
old.
It ain't that old.
So basically, I'm just like, look, if that's the blackest black, obviously you know what it means when you hear those chimes playing.
I didn't know. Next time I was like, you pretty much lost me. Like being there, like rad and dirty. I'm like, I didn't know. Yeah, okay. So basically, I'm getting my car snatched, and what Justin Timberlake gets it now.
Oh no! See, I wasn't gonna go there.
Thank you. As long as I'm better than Timberlake, I'm good.
But you understand what "nuck if you buck" means now, right?
Yeah, basically, you start. Don't roll up in here, or you're gonna get fallen on.
It's don't start none if you don't want none.
Yeah. Hey, James Brown explained it better. Don't start none, won't be none.
Exactly.
That's right.
Now, see,
got that from James. Didn't need no nuck if you buck if you whatever.
So now that you understand that, can we have that as a? Because where were we? They actually had a doormat that said, "I we nuck if you buck," and I'm just like, oh my god, I want that on a doormat. And Thomas is like, no, that's kind of wrong.
Yeah, apparently it was not a Target.
It was not. So anyway, would you buy something with like a color that's black?
Yeah.
Like, what would be a good use for? I can't imagine why you would want that.
I could go stealth. I could randomly walk in the rooms and people not even see me. As y'all as my friends and my coworkers know, I can become very quiet very quickly and sneak in and out of rooms. Nobody can see me coming. I'm like a ninja roach.
Okay, so clearly Big Daddy should not be trusted with this technology.
Yeah. Hold on to your wallets. Yes. I'll be like sneaking in and out of rooms just with this super blackety black, the black clothing on. I'm cloak.
Yeah, now that I think about it, maybe you shouldn't be trusted with that.
Now I like this. Now I'm on like a super onyx blackety black, like TV. I want it all black. Matter of fact, I need me a Cadillac that's like blackety black. But y'all don't even see me coming in the middle of the night. I'm just sitting on the corner, just chilling, waiting for like Tupac or something. I'm waiting for him to come back, y'all.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap things up. But the last thing on pop culture that we noticed this week that everyone's been talking about, because I'm starting to worry that Big Daddy's really adapting to this whole
a super blackety black,
black
Cadillac
black
with
out.
curved feelers and a diamond in the back.
Doing this podcast every week, I learned so much about my husband.
With candy corn in the console.
Oh, dude. I until that.
I brought it.
Yes, people. Marriage is not easy. Anyway, the last thing that caught our eye this week was there is a rapper, and you may be familiar with him. He goes by the name of Takahashi 69.
Takahashi?
Yes.
Is that his name?
It's Takahashi 69, or he just goes by 69.
I thought it was Takashi.
Did I say Takashi?
I thought she said Takahashi.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
I thought it was that woman. Is it the building in Die Hard? Like, that building?
No, that's not that. That's not the name of that building, is it? I thought it was Takeshi.
We took this completely off the tracks. Maybe was we drinking the pumpkin spice rum doing this?
I don't know. Was that what you gave me?
The Takahashi building.
I think it's funny that you know his name because you didn't know who he was when I was telling you about him.
I didn't know who this clown was.
I was like, yeah, Takashi 69. And then Big Daddy looked at me like I was insane. And so I showed him it's the guy. Okay, to be honest, I can't name a Takashi 69 song. I really can't.
I went to Takashi's real Takahashi. I feel like we almost feel like just saying that like offense to Wu-Tang Clan.
So anyway, he has been pushed jail, and he has been given the opportunity to basically turn code on some of his fellow rappers. And so this has been a long trial that has been going on where basically he has been talking about the intersection of hip-hop culture and gang-related culture. And so on I think it was his third day of testimony, they basically asked him point blank, like, who have been people that have your fellow rappers that are gang members?
Right after they named, like, who did your hair?
And so basically, he decided to just go full snitch, as we say back in the neighborhood, and just reveal all sorts of names, talking about everyone from Jim Jones, the rapper, to Cardi B, who admittedly, Cardi B even said in a GQ interview that she's a member of the gang.
Was she part of the gang, or was she just like a gang stripper?
No. It's a really great interview where she was interviewed, I think, last year in GQ, and she had talked about her previous life in a gang. Okay. So, Takeshi, of course, I guess he made he made a deal with the government, and just because I guess he got arrested. What was it for? Like guns, and like he just went full. He just went out there full gangster, and they caught him.
Full gangster. The dude went out there. They was like, okay, the dude with all the tattoo crap on your face. Come here, let me talk to you for a minute.
Well, first of all, that's a good point. I mean, no offense, if you're going to be a gang member, you got to be a better one than him, because it probably was easy to find him because he has like his face tattooed. It
says his name on his face.
Yeah, it's kind of like, look, dude, we caught you on camera. We know it's you.
Yeah, I'm like, you couldn't mask all that with like makeup, but
maybe he could have thought a little bit.
And like I said, like I'm not saying like I know anything about homie, but dude, you went full snitch. Lily T.L. Singer's making songs about you right now. Yeah, we don't want no snitch. The snitch is a person who didn't do anything good by me. Now you about to lose all your money. I just made that up on the fly. So
it's clear.
That's why I will never be a rapper.
But anyway, the reason why I mentioned that is one, obviously his testimony has made national news, and there's been a big pushback on that from everyone, from Cardi B, who said, yeah, I'm a member of a gang, but not that particular gang he named me a part of, to there is a very famous record label owner and rapper named Jay Prince, who, again, going back to the Roy Wood Jr. story and talking about his experience in doing prank calls, if you get a moment, Google Roy Wood Jr. and Jay Prince to see how basically you don't mess with Jay Prince. And Jay Prince has basically said, look, Tekashi's lying. So I would like to say that Kakashi's probably lying, but in case he's telling the truth, Twitter in particular is a helper.
Mm-hmm.
And so they decided to share other things that Takeshi might be snitching about other than the members of the gang.
There are two things I have learned in the last couple episodes of doing this podcast. There are two people I really don't feel like, even if I know them, I don't want to talk about them. One is Suge Knight, the other one is Jay Prince.
Which is why I quickly moved on from that subject in case Mr. Prince is listening.
Okay, so anyway, yes, sir.
So anyway, other things that people Takashi might be snitching on Ness, and I thought it would be interesting to share them. So someone tweeted on Twitter, do you remember Church Millionaire? He's still writing dirty.
He is still writing dirty. Which
I personally think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
He snitched on the Muffin Man, the one who lives on Drury Lane.
Dang.
Yeah.
There you go.
He just told that.
Does he really know who shot Biggie?
No, but he probably knows who shot JR.
Dang. I thought it was Mary Crosby.
Who?
It was like his sister-in-law, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I remember that, but I don't remember anything else.
It's to the point where Rallies and Checkers and Brands are now tweeting. So 2 days ago, Rallies and Checkers actually said, Takashi 6ix9ine knows the secret recipe to Checker Rallies fries.
Does he know the 11 herbs and spices?
He probably knows not only what they are, but where they went. They're not on the chicken.
Wow. That was whoa, shots fired. Shots fired. Wow. KFC don't like you. There go that sponsorship, dude.
I don't think we're ever getting that sponsor.
Man. The Colonel is not like... Yeah. Which Colonel really made the chicken? Takashi knows.
I think he knows that. So he probably knows who all the members of the Wu-Tang Clan are.
Yeah.
Including whether or not William Shatner is a member, because I'm convinced William Shatner is a member of the Wu-Tang Clan.
William Shatner, like T.J. Hooker.
Yes, because remember we read that interview. What was that interview in?
I don't remember. Was it Complex or Slant? No.
It was like a magazine interview where William Shatner demonstrated his love for the Wu-Tang Clan, and his favorite album is Enter the 36 Chambers. And we laughed, and we're just like, he is a secret member of the Wu, because, as you know, no one actually knows how many people are in the Wu-Tang Clan.
Not even the members of the Wu-Tang Clan.
They don't know. Except Takeshi. He knows.
This is some weird, wild stuff here. This is serious.
Takeshi also knows that Michael Jackson was Billie Jean's lover, and he was the one.
Oh, see, that did it for me. See, we got to stop him now. He needs to be stopped.
But when it's to the point where Checkers and Rallies are tweeting about you, I think it's time to step off the stand.
Oh my goodness.
So what other things do you think he's going to reveal?
Where James really went on Good Times. What other things should we do? I don't know. Like a lot of things that Tekashi 6ix9ine knows. What really does Tekashi 6ix9ine mean?
Well, look, Jay Prince says he knows nothing, so we're just going to end with that.
Okay, Jay Prince knows, yeah.
Because Jay Prince is a scary dude. Which person is scarier, Jay Prince or Suge?
I'm not willing to find out.
Suge is in jail.
I don't care if he's in jail. I don't care if dude's like in On the Rock. You know, if he's in San Quentin or whatever. I'm not asking him any questions. The dude ain't hanging me out no window.
All right. Well, wishing Tekashi all the best and hoping that he does well, because apparently he's upsetting a lot of people with his talk.
Wait a minute. Was he the one that got held up in Sweden?
No, that's A$AP Rocky.
Okay, see, I can't get them all together. See, I told you I ain't listening to nothing past 2006. Really, Tekashi 6ix9ine also knows what happened to Kanye West.
Ooh. That is a good question.
Well.
Okay, so on that note, we're going to take a quick break. before this podcast goes any more off the rails. And when we come back, we will end as always talking about the best thing that we ate this week. So you're listening to the Gourmet Goober, and we'll be right back. Hey, I'm JJ Outlaw, better known as the Gourmet Goober. Let me ask you something. Do you love conversations about hit snacks? Deep philosophical discussions on why, I don't know, corn dogs should be called meat Twinkies? Or why Love and Hip Hop Atlanta has the right level of ratchet? Well, if you've answered yes to any of these questions, you might be a goober, which is why you should be a part of our bi-weekly podcast where we tackle life's most important foodie and pop culture questions like why community fries should be a thing. And if you love the Gourmet Goober podcast, how about supporting us? You can give us a 5-star review on Stitcher and iTunes. You can drop us a line at thegourmetgoober@gmail.com. You can advertise with us, or you can visit anchor.fm/gourmetgoober, click the support this podcast button, and put just $5 on it to help support independent media. So, if you're a goober like me, no worries. Just join us here at the Gourmet Goober, be a part of our bi-weekly podcast, and support us now at anchor.fm/gourmetgoober. Thanks for listening. Back to the show. Hey everybody, this is JJ Outlaw, better known as the Gourmet Goober, and we are back. So we are ending today's podcast as we do every podcast by sharing the best thing that we ate this week. So that's when we share some home cooking recipes. We may share restaurants we really adore, but we really want to just, because this is first and foremost a foodie podcast, share some really great things that just gave us joy culinary-wise. So as always, I like to start this segment with Big Daddy. But before I do...
What did I do?
No. Can I just share with our listeners what you divulged to me yesterday about something that you finally broke down and ate?
Sure.
Big Daddy had the Impossible Whopper, y'all.
Do.
After making fun of me mercilessly for trying the Impossible Whopper, he confessed that he himself this past week had tried his own. So, Big Daddy, after trying it, what do you think?
What do I think? It's a Whopper. No, I said to her on one occasion, I said, you know what? If I had the choice, I was going to, since there was like this big thing about it, I was going to finally break down and see what all the hype was about. I had a choice between an Impossible Whopper and what was it, an Impossible Slider from White Castle.
Yes, and I encourage you to have the Impossible Whopper because the thing about the Impossible Slider, it is really good, but I'm convinced that they knew that they couldn't recreate the steam grilled cooking process that they do with real meat with the Impossible meat. Okay. So it's good, but it doesn't taste like a slider. So I told him to start with the Impossible Whopper first because you're familiar with what a Whopper should taste like. Yes. And if that sells you, then you'll be open to other experiences.
Yes.
And you said it tastes just like a regular Whopper?
Yeah, for the most part, it was basically like I went in there and ordered a Whopper. At first, I sat down, and I knew in my head that I had ordered something other than your traditional meat-based Whopper, and I was a little nervous, like, first bite, but then, like, after, like, bites 2, 3, 8, I was like, oh, this is like a Whopper. I'm cool. I just kept eating, and then, I was done, and it was pretty clean. So, yes, I went to the dark side and took the challenge of an Impossible Whopper, and it tasted like a Whopper. Now I'm like, yes, now I'm forward to see what other, okay, maybe not.
Hey, you know what? I'm not saying anything because this is a big step. I know that meatless meals is a challenge that we've given ourselves. And this is not necessarily to say that the Impossible Whopper is any healthier, but it definitely goes a long way as far as sustainability and being able to, because I think we talked about it in a previous podcast about how much resources it takes to sustain a herd of cattle in terms of land and water usage and, usage of other materials. And this is not to say that I'm like all for don't eat meat. Yo, anyone knows I love me a good steak.
Yes.
I have no problem with that. But that being said, at least being mindful, at least in some of your meals, is not necessarily a bad thing. And kudos again to the Burger King and people at the Impossible Burger, whoever makes that, because if you can get Big Daddy to like it, that's some good stuff.
Like Mikey. I like it.
So now that I completely outed you for the Impossible Whopper experience, what would you say is the best thing you ate this week?
Well, now that I was, outed, like I was turned around by trying the Impossible Whopper, would I be willing to say it was probably the best thing I ate this week? Maybe close. Also, since going the completely other direction, I was a big fan this week about always going to Portillo's and getting a good charburger. Oh man, the charburgers are tight. I like them.
Oh, they have the best charburgers.
Yeah, all the ones in downtown Chicago, great. This one I tried in the suburbs. It was tight too, but yeah, Portillo's great. But once again, for the second podcast in a row, I'm going to drop dime and say the best thing I ate this week was from the Gourmet Goober. Goober.
Wow, I wasn't even expecting that.
Yeah, the Goober hooked us up like within the last 24 hours. Since we were talking about fall foods, she made a chili.
Not just any chili. It's
not just any chili. Thank you. Since when I throw together a chili, I like to throw together all the meats and bacon and whatever. And no, this was not that, but it was Cincinnati style with the spaghetti, with the cheese, with the sprinkle of cinnamon, with the onions. It was I can't remember if I had 3-way, 4-way, 5-way, 8-way.
I think you had 4-way because I didn't have the red beans because usually if you're not familiar with Cincinnati chili is a very unique style of chili. It's very meat based, and then you can get it multiple ways, ranging anywhere from spaghetti, and you top spaghetti with it, to spaghetti, cheese, and onions, and then spaghetti 5 ways is usually, or the chili 5 ways is the chili with spaghetti, cheese, onions, and then beans. So I think you had it 4 ways. You had everything but the beans.
Okay. Yeah. So minus the beans, it was a very good Cincinnati style chili.
Oh, thank you.
Good chili. Good fun. So that was the best thing I ate this week.
Well, the best thing I ate this week, part of it I have to say was that apple cider donut that I got from the County Line Orchard in Holbert, Indiana. And again, you guys, I know we've talked about donuts on the show a lot, like Do-Right Donuts and Long's Donuts, and I think I shared this really cool place once on a podcast that is in Crown Point, Indiana, that is called Kim Shaw 13 Donuts, which you got to go not just for the donuts for them, but the experience, because it's in an old bank vault that was once famously robbed by gangster John Dillinger. So it's like a comic book shop and a donut shop, and it's just next level. But when you want something simple, something that screams fall, you can't get better than an apple cider donut. And when I tell you that we were in a line 60 deep and we did it willingly so that we can get our first taste of fall in those donuts, I'm just telling you the truth. It just was amazing. And I am just really glad that I had it. So kudos to the great people of the County Line Orchard. If you wanted to visit it, again, if you live in the Chicagoland area, I'll put the information in the show notes. I also have to give credit to another thing I ate this week that was just really next level. And it's my favorite. Even though I love cooking, everyone who's prized himself as a cook usually has that one recipe that is just, they can't really get. Like for me, I always struggled years upon years that I've been cooking. I've been cooking since I was 13 with making lasagna. And I just never really, I mean, I don't know. I'm just like one of those people who's like obsessed with the presentation and everything. I'm just a goober like that. And it just never really, I mean, it was good, but it wasn't great. But there's this recipe that I've been using for the past 10 years, and I made the lasagna for you for the recipe, and you really loved it this week when we were feeling under the weather. Because, you know, when you're sick, there's nothing like having something that sticks to your ribs, and hey, lasagna does it. But I'll put the links of it in the show notes as well. There's this really great recipe on allrecipes.com. It's literally called the world's greatest lasagna, and it is. And I have used that recipe. I've taken it for potlucks and things like that. Never fails. People love it. So outside of the apple cider donut, I have to say the best thing I ate this week was that lasagna.
Yeah, that lasagna was pretty good.
Yes.
I do remember that.
So I forget the author of the recipes. I've actually commented on her before because it's just like the most simple and best lasagna recipe I've ever followed. And that's saying something because I usually follow like, you know, just a few chefs that I really love. And this is just like a home cook who put it together, and it's really great. So since we're talking about stuff for the fall and stuff that's like warm and nourishing and all that good stuff, definitely if you're into lasagna, try this recipe because it's really next level good.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I mean, it was pretty good, and like, you know, presentation, just depending on how it was like put together. I mean, sometimes it looks great. I think we just
dived into it too soon this time.
Yeah,
we were hungry.
You know, we didn't let it settle as long as we wanted to, but like, you know,
follow the directions when they say let it sit.
Yeah, let it sit. We got a little happy-handed, but yeah, and definitely like, you know, as you know, if you decide to partake of this adventure, it takes patience, we'll say that, but also, you know, definitely make it your own. You know, add the ingredients or whatever you know to make it, you know, sexy for you. You know, make it all turned up, if you will.
Yeah, I usually make homemade marinara with it.
Exactly. Just don't, you know, twerk with it. That could get a little crazy.
That would be crazy no matter what you make.
Yeah, but you know, the booty humping, like, you know, lasagna is tight, but no.
I didn't realize that was a requirement.
No, sometimes you gotta, like, you know, work some of them calories off. So, you know, every once in a while you got a little, you know, drop it low for a minute.
Yeah, but, that is true.
You know,
that's why I don't make it very often because the calories.
Right on. But yeah, you just gotta make it sing. So.
Well, everyone, we just want to say thank you for hanging out with us for this week with the Gourmet Goober. Big Daddy, where can they find you online?
Once again, you can find me at T Outlaw, TOUTLAW, on Twitter, and on the Instagram at T Outlaw, Josie Wells, like the movie, and Facebook, wherever.
Well, you can find us on Facebook at the Gourmet Goober blog. And of course, you can always catch me on the Twitter. I'm usually there most often at T Outlaw. I'm sorry, that's where they find you. They find me at JJ Outlaw on Twitter and on Instagram at Gourmet Goober. So for both of us at the Gourmet Goober podcast, thanks for listening. Just as a reminder, starting with this podcast, we are going back to our bi-weekly schedule. So we'll come out with another episode in 2 weeks. And until then, happy eating.
Happy eating.